Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming in. My name is Tina Hastings. I'm going to be talking a little bit about touch points that we're going to be experiencing through school feeding this year. Let's see. Oh, everybody look at this picture. Doesn't this look familiar? This is what we've seen kind of in the past. Kids coming in through the cafeteria, touching our trays, touching their phones, touching each other, grabbing what kind of item they want to get for their meals, holding on to racks and the rails, going through the register, punching in their numbers in the keypad. Unfortunately, this is one of the things we know with COVID-19, that it's spread through close contact in our hands. So it's kind of our responsibility to eliminate or minimize as many touch points that we can this year as we're going through our feeding. We have 3 different types of food feeding we're going to be doing this year. So we kind of are going to look through some of the different touch points that'll be in each situation. We'll have our cafeteria, our classroom, and our grab and go, which is going to be like our remote and blended feeding. First area we're going to kind of talk about is our cafeteria. Thinking about your cleaning areas, all the touch areas that we're going to need to be cleaning throughout this school year. Put a plan in place. Call your health department. Call your local health department people. Ask what their suggestions are if you're not sure exactly what you need to do. Again, talk to your local health department, because we've had several different counties that we've spoke with and get different rules from each county. So it's kind of important that you talk to your local one and find out exactly what they expect of us. Assign a safety person. You want to assign someone in your cafeteria that's back there helping feed, that knows a little bit about what we have to be doing. Again, one benefit of being in our kitchen working through the school is we do tend to always be very clean. We tend to sanitize more than most other people. I know when this all started in the spring, I wasn't too worried about it, because again, we're used to this, so we have to amp our game up just a little bit, but for the most part, we're used to doing, washing down all the touch points. So just kind of assign somebody who's willing to document, what they've done, logging it. Again, you want to log. That's the one thing the health department, when they do come in, is going to look for, is to make sure that you're logging your information, and kind of do it through a student's eyes. Do a walkthrough. Come down through the hallway, go into the cafeteria, walk in through the first door that you're going to start. The kids are going to come in to feed. Have them walk through your satellites. Walk back to your cashier, walk out the door and to the table. Just do exactly like a student would do, and think about how many times you're touching or what you're touching. All things to put into your plan. Then you're going to set up an action plan. You're going to document it, and you're going to send it off to your health department, local health department, so that they're aware of what you plan on doing, and make sure that we have all the situations that we've hit and what we need. Another part in the cafeteria is our POS systems, where our cashiers are going to be at. Again, highly touched area as the kids are coming in through the cafeterias. Most of us, of course, we will all have our masks on. Some schools are putting up plexiglass to put in between the student and the cashier. Some different ways that we're going to be doing to process the meals that we're doing is you can use class rosters. Most POS systems you have, you can just pick up say you're going to do Mrs. Jones' class, and it pops up on your POS system, and you're able to just ask the student for their name and just touch it and put it right in. Another way you could do possibly with your younger students is using a barcode that you're scanning as the student comes up. Again, younger ones, sometimes they're a little harder to hear. Don't understand a question when you ask them your name. So having that scan or the barcode is a little bit easier. You can just do it through some of the districts we work in with now. We use the barcodes already for our kindergartners, just because it's a little bit easier to get them through. We can also still use our keypads. Again, this is one of those things you need to talk to your local health department and find out what their expectations are for this. Some say you have to have a sanitizing wipe and wipe down each keypad with each student. Some say you can just have the Purell there, and as long as the student wipes his hands with the Purell before he touches the keypad, that's okay. So again, you want to talk to your local health departments, find out what their regulations are for this. part of using the keypads and having them sanitize between each pad, each person is going to be kind of a little, it's going to take up a little more time. And again, our students, we're going to have them sectioned 6 feet apart, you know, possibly coming down one classroom at a time. And our goal is to get these students through the lines as quick as possible. So you want to be smart about your most efficient way to get the kids through the lines. Another way you can help with keeping it touchless at the cashier is doing cashless options. Online payments, if you can get your parents to set up accounts and do online payments, would be great. Most POS systems have some form of online payment you can sign up with. It's a great tool to have your parents be able to go right on, you know, put the money right on. You don't have to worry about any kind of cash interchanging hands. Parents, it's nice with online payments is your parents are also kind of familiar with what their kids are spending. So when they need money, they can put it on. Another way you could do it is possibly in the mornings, have your money brought in into the classroom with the envelopes. At homeroom, they collect all the money and take it down to the cafeteria or to the office. And then when your cashier comes in, she'd be able to go ahead and put it right into your POS system. Or a lockbox in the cafeteria is another way that you can keep it from having to have the money change hands. Lockbox in the cafeteria is kind of nice because you know those students are going to come in at lunchtime and say, oh man, I forgot my money, forgot to turn my money in. So you can very easily just hand them an envelope and say, go ahead and put it in the lockbox. And then at the end of the day, your cashier could go ahead and collect all the money, put it in your point of sale before they close out for the day. Another section, we're talking about classroom feeding. This is something, you know, again, if you do breakfast in the classroom, you're a little bit more familiar with it. But for a lot of us, we've not done this. And so classroom feeding is going to be a new experience for us. Again, touch points. We don't even think about this because, and that's where our teacher education is going to come into hand. We know how to do this. This is one thing that we need to remember. We're kind of professionals at this. We know touch points. We know how to keep things sanitized. We know how to keep from kids from touching one thing to another if they have allergies. We know how to process every meal that we've done. Now, if we're feeding in the classroom, this is where teacher education is going to come in big. We want to teach we want to educate these teachers or whoever the staff member is in the classroom that's going to be distributing the meals, processing the meals, and rosters are the perfect way to do it. If we have a roster in there, then this way the teacher can look down, see the student's name, see what they ordered for lunch, if they have any allergies. But we got to understand, again, Maureen talked about being compassionate and understanding that this is new to them too. So they're not used to having this thrown at them. Now here, figure out how to feed these kids, but we're going to need their help. So being compassionate with them and understanding that they're not, familiar with what we do on a daily basis. So educating them and having them ready will definitely make for an easier transition for the students and for the teachers and for ourselves. One of the things we need to think about when we're in the classroom and we are feeding them is how do we minimize handling of the products? Think about this. How many we have the students that come up and get the ketchup packets, or when the kids are out there eating their yogurts and their Go-Gurts and their little packs of applesauce. And how many times do they have to ask a monitor, can you open this for me? Because some of the smaller kids can't open these. These are things we need to think about when we take them into the classroom. Make it as easy as possible, easy wrapping. So maybe instead of doing ketchup packets into the classroom, we're doing 1 ounce souffle cups with a lid on. A little kid could very easily pop that lid off of it. And in the classroom, we need to have these teachers remember little helpful helpers. Think about that one little kid that's always willing to say, hey, I can help you open that. We don't want the kids touching other products the same as we want to minimize as much we want to touch the products. We don't want to do this. So this is another thing, because not only are we going to be preparing the foods ourselves, we're going to be having in the classroom kids being packed lunches. So this is some kind of information maybe you want to send out to your parents, something to keep in mind. Easy open items, maybe send out some kind of communication to the parents explaining easy ways, easier products to open. This way our hands are not on it, the staff members or the teachers are not opening all these products, and it's easier for the kid to do. Resealable lunch bags, Ziploc bags, a flip top water bottle. These are things you want to let parents know to kind of be prepared that if they would pack these, it makes it easier for us. Here's some of the harder to open items that you don't think about. The juice boxes. How many times are we popping the straws in and trying to get it in? I myself have a hard time getting them straws in the pouches sometimes. Again, the Go-Gurts, we have to carry scissors around to open some of these. And these are things you want them to be a little bit more conscientious of when they're packing them in their meals, or you're packing them into the students' lunches. Another thing for classroom feeding is, the teachers will probably be doing pre-ordering. In the morning, they'll be kind of getting an idea of how many meals we are, which is a big benefit to the back of the house. Having that teacher in the morning asking the student, what are you going to have today? And then getting that information to the cafeteria so that the lunch orders come down with the correct amounts. One of the districts is doing this, and I thought this was kind of a neat thing to do, is putting pictures up with their order. So on Monday morning, the teacher would come in and say, okay, this is what our lunch menu is. Normally we would say French toast sticks or turkey sub. And this way, having the picture, it kind of helps the kid to see what they're actually getting. And hopefully will reduce that student that when lunchtime comes and you go in there and you say, you bring them this and you say, here's your French toast stick. And that kid says, oh man, that's not what I ordered, or that's not what I thought it was going to be. So this way it will hopefully reduce on that. But then it also helps us in the regards that, okay, that teacher sends down saying we're taking 15 French toast sticks this lunch period, along with 5 turkey subs. So we get the exact amount to that cafeteria or to that classroom that's delivered correctly. And each kid doesn't have to worry about not getting what they didn't plan on having that day. Our third and final way that we're going to be probably feeding this year is our grab and goes, which are going to be done with remote or blended learnings. Important part of doing this type of feeding, which we've all kind of experienced starting in the spring. We all kind of got thrown in and figured out how are we going to do this. So some of us have got this down to a science, but one of the important things in doing a grab and go is to have a pre-order form. I mean, that is probably the best saving grace that you could possibly ask for when preparing all of this stuff. And there's different ways you can have your pre-order forms. You can do a POS, POS systems have now done online forms. I know we've gotten communication from different POS systems saying they're now offering this. Healthy Menu Pro, which if you wait, at the end of this, you can go back in and look, they're going to have a presentation on, they're now offering a online form. And Google, if you don't want to, if you want a free version of it, Google is a free version and it works great. And we'll talk more about Google in a little bit. Another thing you need to think about is your POS for recording your claims. How are you going to do this if we're doing these grab and goes and the kids are cars are coming up and picking up theirs? Keeping a mobile POS system is a great option to have if you have it. If not, you go back to your rosters where you're kind of checking off the names of how many kids you've done, how many meals are going home with this parent. And then this way you can add them all up and put them into your claims. CEP schools, I know they go by clicking and counting how many meals they're doing, but schools that aren't CEP, the government's still going to want to know that student's name and number. So that they're getting held accountable, that we're being held accountable for our claims. Another thing we have to think about with this is your back of the house, your production. How are you going to do it? Are you going to set up stations? Can you set up assembly lines? And again, this is something that we've all worked through this spring and have kind of figured out ways that make it the best possible way. Are you going to be delivering, the meals for the full week, one-time delivery or pickup? Are you going to do every day? It helps, again, having that form, that online form helps you because production wise how many meals we're going to need each day. I did talk with our local health department about this because my worst fear was, oh my goodness, what if one of our girls gets sick? Do we have to close down the whole kitchen? So talk to your local health departments, figure out what their plans are for this. Now, speaking with the one that I talked to, they said as long as we're still wearing our masks and we social distance at 6 feet between each other as the girls are working in the back of the house, that if one of them were to get sick, we would not have to shut our kitchen down. So as long as everybody has stayed within that 6 feet and the masks are being worn. And again, this is one of those things that you may want to think about. Do I want to set up a team? Maybe I have a team of girls working on just producing foods for that day. Maybe you have a team that's working on feeding your cafeteria kids, and you have one group that's working on packing meals for your blended. Making teams is a great way to keep your meals set, and it also helps with, if somebody were to get it, it eliminates everybody getting it in once. Keep it simple when you're doing these grab and goes and the pickups. Just kind of make it simple. You could give the cars a hanger that they could hang in their car window, or give them a sign to post in there. Mrs. Smith, I'm picking up 2 meals. How great is that? As they're pulling up into line to pick up their meals, you have that person who's out there running. Maybe they have a walkie-talkie and they see, okay, I need 2 meals. They call in the back of the house. I need 2 meals. And by the time that 2 meals are taken out to that car, that person has been received their meals, processed, and out the road, on the road, and it keeps your lines, it expedites your line much quicker. So I said I'm going to talk about Google Forms, and let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am like the least computer savvy person in the world. So when they did talk about Google Forms, and I'm one of the districts that I worked with in the spring, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, again, intimidated by computers. You got to realize I'm an older person. My, first computer classes in high school was, my senior year. It was the first time a computer class came to into the high school. So that goes to show you I did not grow up on computers. So, but when Google Forms came out, and, I was started looking at it, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, let me tell you, greatest thing since sliced bread. And if I can use it, let me just tell you, anybody can use Google Forms. One of the benefits of Google Forms is it streamlines all your communication. So again, if you're looking for ways to do online order forms, do your remote feeding, you want to use, and it's free. What better way to do it is it's free. And like I said, you send out all this information to the parents. You can ask any question you want. You get all the information gets sent back to you in one spot. It's great for online ordering. It's great for collecting and processing your meals for your claims. You can also, let me tell you, I used it to do surveys, to the parents when we were doing this feeding in the spring. I sent out a survey to the parents asking what traveled well, what didn't travel well, what were the kids' favorite meals, which I thought was kind of funny, was because when I got the favorite and their least favorite were exact the same things. They eat, so some kids were favorite pizza and that was their least favorite pizza was another kid's. So that didn't help very much. They all worked out the same. Why we're going to use this. It's efficient communication. That's the perfect way to do it. When you get all your information, you can put everything right into an Excel sheet. It helps with your back of the house again. It helps with you to know how many meals you're producing during the day for each day. That was one thing I think we had some issues with in the spring when we first started. We didn't know how many people were coming to pick up their meals. So sometimes we overproduced, sometimes we underproduced, and we're running around at the last minute trying to get stuff set up. So this is the one benefit I have in the Google Forms. Everything's there. You know how many meals need to be produced each day or for that week. It's, again, easy to identify your meals to be processed. You can go down, it has the student's name, number. So this way, if you are putting it in your point of sales, or if you have to put it into your claims, all that information is recorded, and nobody can say that you were not using the right ways to do this. And again, for delivery, if it's either in the home or the classrooms that you're delivering, this helps. You can have it set aside so we know your addresses, all the people going on Market Street. You can organize it and have everybody that's going to Market Street to be delivered would go this way. You need the classrooms. If you need to know how many meals are going to room 110, you can organize it on your Google form, and it tells you who's going to room 10, how many meals. So it's a benefit in there too. One of the other things that we can think about is nowadays, everybody, especially during this, we've gone through DoorDash. I see, everybody does some form of DoorDash or delivery system. And this is one thing we can use too, as an a la carte pre-order. So say we have the kids at home and they want a coffee and a bagel. They can go online, order their coffee and bagel, and they're going to pick it up in the cafeteria, and they know. This way it comes back to you. You have all that information. The student will come in, just grab their meal and go. It's been put into their POS system, or we'll be able to register it into the POS by the Google form. And again, this is one of the ways we're looking at possibly boosting our a la carte sales. Think about this during the spring. I know a lot of our districts took a hit, especially ones who depend on your a la carte sales or your full price students. And I know some of the districts really took a hit in money with this. So this is one way to kind of, and it also keeps it positive. It doesn't make it feel so much as we're working to do all this stuff because of COVID. It's kind of a new way, exciting way, and especially this generation, that's all they live on is DoorDash. Again, easy to use. I'm going to kind of show you how we do this. All you have to do is go into Google Forms, you sign in, you pick what version you're going to use, your title, your description, what kind of questions you want. Very simple. You hit a plus sign and it gives you right to a new question. You can add pics and links to it also. And I'm going to go here a little version of what we have. Oh, get it up here. Oh, 1 second. Sorry. Oh, here we go. All right. This is what you would do when you would go into Google Forms again. You'd make your title that you want, and I have elementary school. Unfortunately, I can't make it any bigger than this. It would tell you what you want. You know, you'd label it whatever you want. You pick out whatever questions you want. On this one, I'm doing an elementary lunch form, so I want the student's name. I want what grade that student's going to be in. What classroom, because I'm figuring we'll be delivering to a classroom. What type of milk. You can put on what your orders are for that day. Like on Monday, we're going to have grilled chicken or a hamburger. Very simple. If I wanted to add another question, say I wanted to know their email, I would just click on plus, and it gives me a spot to add a new question, and I would put email address. And then this way, and we would not want a multiple choice for that, but you could change it to a short answer. I would put it as a short answer on there. And then this way, the parents or whoever's filling out the form would put their email address. Then this way, we have a way of communicating with your parents. You could put phone numbers, however you want to do it. And then that way, they just go right through and answer the questions. Then what you would do at the end, once you get your forms all set, again, very simple to do, you would just click on your send, like and you would hit, you want the link, and you could shorten your link, and there's the email address. So you would just click on that link, copy it to your emails, and send it out in one mass email to the entire school or whoever you're sending it to. If you want just your first graders, you could send it to there. Again, all in an email, one shot, and all this information gets sent out to them. Then what they would do is they would fill the forms out, submit it, and send it back to you. And once they come back in, we would go to response. As the responses come in, you would click on that. And if you click on the little green shield right here, it takes you to, and again, it may take us a couple seconds here. It's going to take all that information that was sent back in from the parents or the online orders. It's going to bring all that information and stick it into an Excel sheet, just like this. And this way, now all the information you need is in one spot. And it tells you everybody's answers. We know we had, on Monday, it shows how many are getting grilled chicken salads versus, hold on, I'm trying to make this bigger for you guys. Okay, so you could go in here and say on Monday, I need to know how many kids or Tuesday, how many kids are getting turkey sandwiches. So you would just go click on that column, go to sort A to Z, and it separates everything you need to know, all your turkey and cheese, all your walkaways. You can do it with grade levels. You can do it with the students' names, what classrooms, anything that you need. And again, like I said, it is very simple to do. And I'm trying to get my screen back here. Sorry. All right, let me click out of these. Unfortunately, because I got so much information here, it's There. All right. So again, after we go through, sorry about that. Once you go through, all your responses are right there. All your answers that those parents are going to send to you on that form is going to be organized all into one spot. It gathers your like responses, puts everything together in one spot. Can put your classrooms together, your meals organized. Anybody with allergies, again, that was one thing that we it's very important that we do pay attention to our allergies. So our kids, especially when you're going in the classroom or when you're sending meals home, we want to make sure that we have those allergies marked off. And when it was all said and done, when you do your responses in your Google Forms, it also gives you kind of graphs and little bits of information there that you can always use. It great in sending out reports for your boards. So it's kind of a neat little, again, I can't say enough good things about Google. I loved it. So in conclusion, I want you to, some of the points that we talked about is think about our touch points. Walk through like a student, try and figure out exactly where our most frequency touch points are going to be. Have an action plan, reach out to your local health department, find out, document, can't tell you enough, write everything down. Be prepared for several types of feeding this year. We could use all 3 of them in your district in 1 year. We know, in this beginning of the school year, we don't know what we're about to do. And relax and breathe. We got this. That's the one thing I can always say about kitchen workers I think we work better off the fly, jump in and, hey, just throw it at us. We'll figure it out. But just remember, ladies and gentlemen, to have a good good year. Beginning of the school year is going to be a little different, but keep a smile on and keep going. So in order to get to know you were here, my question that I came up with is name one place or thing that students touch on a daily basis in your cafeteria.
And then once you guys answer this question, we have a lunch session with our recipe advisory committee. So again, you'll just hit that session tab and move on over there. So if you want to take a couple of minutes to go and grab yourself something to eat or something to drink, we will see you all in that session in just a few minutes. Great job, Tina. Thanks, everyone.